Some battles never leave you, and one in particular still haunts even the game's director. When I recently revisited Final Fantasy Tactics for the first time since completing it in 1998, I was instantly reminded of the boss fight that broke me. That infamous encounter was so punishing, I never returned to the game. And, judging by its notorious reputation among longtime fans, I'm clearly not the only one. So when I had the rare opportunity to speak with Kazutoyo Maehiro, one of the original developers, and now the director of the upcoming remaster, Final Fantasy Tactics, Ivalice Chronicles, I had one burning question. Why was that fight so merciless? I asked him directly, what was going through the team's mind 28 years ago when they designed that boss battle? Maehiro chuckled, as did the Square Enix PR team and interpreter present. It was obvious this question had come up before. Interestingly, while Maehiro doesn't consider that fight his personal favorite, or even the most difficult, he gives that title to the Zir Calais Falls battle, which famously spikes in difficulty and derails many players. The one I brought up clearly holds a special place in the collective memory of fans. This brutal sequence appears late in Chapter 3, and consists of 2 consecutive battles that feel like an endurance test. First, players face off in a solo duel between protagonist Ramza and antagonist Wiegraf. If you haven't meticulously prepared your character, this fight can feel downright impossible. And just when you think you've survived, the game throws Belias at you, a demon who possesses Wiegraf, along with his summoned minions. For many players, this is where their journey through tactics came to a screeching halt. Back then, designing a battle purely for its difficulty wasn't necessarily the norm, Maehiro explained through his interpreter. We didn't set out to make it punishing on purpose. It just evolved that way. But looking back, I believe making it that tough was the right call. But here's where it gets controversial. Was the difficulty a stroke of genius or a barrier that alienated players? Some argue it added depth and challenge, while others feel it was unnecessarily cruel. The upcoming Final Fantasy Tactics, Ivalice Chronicles, is a remastered version of the original PlayStation classic, which debuted in Japan in 1997 and hit the US in 1998 after the massive success of Final Fantasy VII. Unlike the mainline entries, Tactics embraced a grid-based, turn-based strategy format, drawing inspiration from titles like Sega's Shining Force and Nintendo's Fire Emblem. Players had to carefully consider unit placement, abilities, and turn order. One wrong move could lead to a total party wipe. This unforgiving design made the game both revered and feared. The remaster enhances the visuals slightly, preserving the charm of its pixelated character sprites and polygonal landscapes. But the real magic lies in the added voice acting. Even minor enemies now speak, lending a cinematic quality to battles. The accents are dramatic, almost Shakespearean, reminiscent of Game of Thrones, which fits the game's mature themes of betrayal and political upheaval. Ramza's journey through a fractured kingdom is a tale I didn't fully grasp at 19. But now, its emotional weight hits. Daughter Trait City is a masterclass in vertical strategy. Characters positioned on higher ground can strike from afar, but they're also vulnerable to being knocked off ledges, a fall that can mean instant death. The AI-controlled enemies understand these mechanics perfectly, while players must learn through trial and error. That crushing feeling of losing due to a misstep, it's still there, and it's still effective. Maehiro assured me that the remaster offers more flexibility. Players can now adjust difficulty settings, restart battles instantly, or even abandon them altogether. These options make the game more approachable without diluting its strategic core. Back in the day, Maehiro was a fresh-faced developer, working as an event planner, orchestrating character movements and animations during story scenes. Now, decades later, he reflects on that time with pride and a sense of responsibility. I'd be deeply disappointed if I let down the original team, he said. I couldn't afford to fail this project. Revisiting old design documents helped me reflect on my 28-year journey as a game creator. Returning to Final Fantasy Tactics fills me with pride. Since his early days on Tactics, Maehiro has contributed to major Square Enix titles like Vagrant Story, Final Fantasy XII, and Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. He eventually became the creative director for Final Fantasy XVI in 2023. Yet his bond with Tactics remains strong, especially when it comes to the job system, a feature that defined the game's depth and replayability. With over 20 job classes to choose from, players can customize their units in endless ways. From traditional roles like Knight and Archer to quirky picks like Calculator and Time Mage, the possibilities are vast. Maehiro's personal favorites? For efficiency, he loves the ninja, fast, deadly, and capable of dual-wielding weapons. For sheer fun, he's drawn to the Orator, formerly Mediator, a speech-based magic class that can recruit enemies, buff allies, or demoralize foes. It's a fitting choice for someone whose career revolves around strategy and storytelling. So, will I dive back into Ivalice Chronicles and confront the boss fight that once broke me? Absolutely. But this time, I'll be armed with every modern convenience the remaster offers. I'm no longer a college kid procrastinating on homework. I'm a grown-up procrastinating between writing deadlines. Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalice Chronicles launches September 30th for $50 on Nintendo Switch, Switch 2, PC, PS4, PS5, and Xbox Series X/S. Now here's the real question. Was the original difficulty a brilliant design choice or a frustrating misstep? Should remasters preserve punishing mechanics or adapt to modern sensibilities? Let's hear your thoughts. Did that boss fight wreck you too, or did you conquer it with ease? Drop your take in the comments below.